Well, I'd like to read a speech that my mother made at the age of 65 to the 1974 Soil Conference. So I don't know whether anybody here was here and heard this speech, because I think it's very good. She says, "Mr. Chairman, gentlemen, I'm not addressing myself to the ladies at the moment. I feel like standing up and singing 40 years on, because it's now 40 years since the Vale of the White Horse survey was published, and there are still no lady soil surveyors in the field in soil survey. So far as I know, there never has been. I don't feel flattered by this, quite the reverse. It makes me feel rather guilty. Perhaps you said, never again, one is enough." Be that as it may, this discrimination makes me rather sad and very angry. Because, make no mistake about it, gentlemen, this is discrimination. I don't know how you get away with it. I thought there was a law against it. You know as well as I do that the little woman nowadays is just as capable of digging pits and climbing mountains in dirty weather with the best of you. I know that in your heart of hearts you would rather have us at home darning your socks, feeding me in a man, bearing your children. This image dies hard. But even this is not incompatible with the working wife. After 10 years in the survey, I got married and finally resigned. But I went to Oxford when my first child was 4 months old during the war to train a surveyor and start off his survey for Robin Clark. Coming home at lunchtime to feed the baby. Between my second and third child, G.W. Robinson took me back into the survey and I mapped soil around Leeds and trained another surveyor. After 6 children and 22 years teaching with the continued tolerance and support of my husband, now I am 65 and no longer a menace, as I am likely to try and get into the soil survey for a third time. But I am making a plea for the younger generation of women. What are you afraid of, gentlemen? This discrimination does you no credit. It does not become you, and the soil survey can only be the poorer for it. It's a matter of history. When the Agricultural Research Council and other brass hats were considering the setting up of a national soil survey in 1937, to help them make this momentous decision, they sent for 2 copies of the soil survey of the Vale of the White Horse, as it was the only series soil map survey published at that time. As a matter of history too, the Strawberry Survey of South Hampshire contained the first colour-printed soil series map classification. This may sound like blowing my own trumpet, but you will forgive me. In this context, there is no trumpet to blow. But I know I owe a great deal to my boss, Professor H.A.D. Neville, Dean of the Faculty of Agriculture at Reading University, who threw me out into the field, although the study of soil was not his discipline, gave me continual support and encouragement, wrangled money for me to visit other centres, chivied me into writing up the survey, and above all, advanced me the money for the H&D research grant, until the money for its publication came through. For at that time, although our salaries were paid by the Ministry of Agriculture, no money was forthcoming for publications. I also owe a great deal to Professor G.W. Robinson of Bangor, with whom, during nearly the whole of my active survey life, carried on a pedagogical correspondence, answering my queries, providing stimulating ideas, and keeping my flight of fancy within the realms of possibility. And finally, I owe to my mother the gargantuan task of colouring 250 copies of the soil series maps on the whole of the Vale of the White Horse survey that accompanied the bulletin.